Volution?
Yeah. Okay,
No, I'm saying that. I just said the comedy was so good that you think that. Because Orion always has such a weird angle that he goes with news stories. That's like, okay, he planned out some level of like irony, like that YouTuber, J-Reg or Geronimo or whatever.
Geronimo. literally. Hello, all. Welcome to the Grillcast, the only podcast in the world dedicated to radical centrism. I am your host, Micah, and joining me today is former, previous, current, future guest Andy of the Tolerant Left YouTube channel and the Tides of Technocracy band. Andy, how's it going?
What up, guys? Yeah, my main project is Tides of Technocracy. Definitely check that out if you're into heavy metal. It's really cool. We do dystopian metal, but with a lot of melody and shit. Super badass. And I'm still waiting to receive my script for this podcast, so just bear with me for a minute.
I mean, it's not coming. Okay, everything here is unscripted, unfiltered, and 100% the truth, as you would expect from proper journalists.
All right. So if I just snorted a bunch of Ambien, is that gonna be good or bad?
I'm not gonna judge you for anything you want to do in the privacy of your bedroom. But I'm at
the library right now.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to ask you to let people enjoy their books. I do have to inform everybody here that Orion is obviously not present. You can tell because your ears aren't bleeding from just hearing his voice. So basically, what happened is we were trying to record, and he lives in the middle of nowhere now, and so he's using his hotspot on his phone basically to browse the internet and. While he was using it, he went out to his shitting hole, and I presume what must have happened is that his phone fell into the hole. So that is why Orion will not be here with us today.
Very unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate. We do plan on setting up a GoFundMe to help raise money for a pallet to be put on top of his mobile home, which is apparently. What he needs to get his internet set up. That's what I've been told. He apparently needs a pallet on top.
So
of
our goal that we set was it? I can't remember. Was it 15 or 20? Oh,
it was $10. So if you could find it in your heart to send some Dogecoin or any NFTs,
Dogebonk is the new one.
Dogebonk. It would be much appreciated. Be going to a good cause. Orion can come back to the show. Because I know you all are going to miss him during this episode. This episode, where we're going to be covering some big topics and also just hanging out, chilling. One thing I wanted to bring up with you, Andy, just to kind of see what your attitudes are. The holidays, the holiday season we are currently in, and the next holiday after Halloween is Grillgiving, obviously.
Yep.
The time of the year where we all sit around with our family members, we throw a turkey onto a fire, we stuff our faces, and invariably we have to deal with our relatives spewing a bunch of wingcucked nonsense. I was wondering if you could kind of tell me about some of your experiences with
so
that.
I actually really enjoy Thanksgiving because I go to my aunt's house and she has a fantastic house with a hot tub in the backyard overlooking the city. Great fucking view. So I really enjoy Thanksgiving. I'm not trying to get doxxed right now, but it is a beautiful mountain city in by Colorado Springs.
Okay.
But let me just say though that I do love stuffing my face and hanging out with my family members. It's a great time, but I do feel like it's a little bit disingenuous to the original spirit of Thanksgiving. So usually what I do is I find an indigenous person,
Grillgiving,
and I find out where they live and I squat in their apartment or their house for a few weeks, and just so it's more accurate to the original.
Well,
ethos.
that's what this country is all about, and that's part of the spirit of Grillgiving, Andy. Is that all the of course you're the type that wants to harp on all the historical ills and the naughty behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that people find distasteful in this day and age, but when you're basically we have moved past those things. Okay, we've become
Mm.
enlightened. We've moved towards the center. Okay, and so we've made this holiday about something that everybody can agree on and that everybody loves to do, which is
Cranberries.
grilling, which is eating,
Yep.
which is cornucopias.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't understand why people want to save the historical, allegories. All right.
So let me just do a small disclaimer. If no one wants to join me in my own personal realistic celebration of Thanksgiving, where we, like I said, squat in an indigenous person's house, that's totally fine. You might have other ways of celebrating it where you maybe you burn down some crops or you spread famine, disease, and death. I don't know, but it's
Yeah.
your choice, and I respect that.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to do that here because we do it abroad. So I mean,
That's true. That's a good
we do.
point. So shout out to the troops for keeping the
Yeah.
colonial Thanksgiving spirit alive.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need to experience that spirit here. But seriously, I don't know if you've had that experience. You get together, you're getting together with your family on Grills-Giving. It's your favorite time of the year, obviously next to Jesus' birthday.
Hmm.
But you're getting together, you're having your favorite foods, and then some. Invariably, one of your family members. I know one of you out there listening.
Yep.
One of your uncles or your dad or your cousin is going to pull up in their pickup truck and start handing out "Let's Go Brandon" bumper stickers. And they're going to say,
Very
you got in your
embarrassing.
let's." Yes, very very embarrassing. I mean, or the inverse.
Hmm.
The inverse, they might actually hand you Biden 2024 bumper stickers. So you're going to have to deal with people like this, and I don't know. I think the best advice I can give to you when trying to steer away from the wingcucked conversations, is if someone starts to insert their bullshit, their partisan bullshit into dinner time with the family, and absolutely nobody there wants to hear it, you just got to speak up. You got to let them
Hmm.
know. You got to let them know that you're not going to tolerate that and that they're not going to get invited next year. I mean, you got to be tough. Okay, it's tough love, but but you have to be tough. Andy, I was trying to ask, have you had any experiences with this particular issue?
So there definitely would be some tension with my family in the East Coast because I have an uncle who is very, very Catholic. He actually recently got a PhD in theology, which is awesome. Cheers to him. He's in his 40s, so it's about time for him to figure out what he wants to do in life and stop couch surfing at monasteries. But the problem though is I have a cousin here in Colorado with me that recently came out as trans.
Okay.
So there most definitely is going to be a tension between those two families, which is why I'm kind of happy that the one on the East Coast doesn't really come over here much. Because just like I had
Are they going to come for this girls giving?
they usually don't come for Thanksgiving, usually just big events. So eventually, sometime in the future, there is going to probably be a big event where everyone's present. And then finally, we'll see what happens. But I know the last big event that happened was my other uncle, same side of the family, got married to a Korean. So they did a
Oh
traditional
my god.
Korean wedding where
Oh my god.
it had kind of like, I don't know what you'd call it, but it had like
A North
Taoisty
Korean or a
themes
South
and
Korean?
South Korea. Oh shit, I'm sorry, I'm
Oh
wrong.
my god. Oh
Vietnamese.
my god, Andy.
But for some reason they had like kind of like Taoisty themes, Confucian themes. I'm not sure exactly, but there is an Eastern religious like disposition behind the wedding. And so my other uncle, the Catholic one, he didn't come because he thought it needed to be a traditional Catholic wedding.
Really?
Yeah. So then my uncle who got
Wow.
married pissed off as shit about that. And I definitely understand why sometimes we got to put aside the religious differences, the political differences, and just say, "Hey, I'm here for family, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you might be a Trump supporter, you might be a Biden supporter, you might be an anarchist."
That's exactly what I'm saying, Andy. I just don't understand. We just need one holiday out of the whole fucking year. That can we just pick one? Maybe it doesn't have to be, maybe it's not going to be Girls Giving, right?
Right?
But
Yeah.
can we just pick a time where we can just put it all the fuck aside and
And
just
now, can I just say one thing on top of this? So what I do in my personal experience, the sometimes it's liberals causing the problems. I won't deny that, and other people on the left, but
Mm,
for my personal family, it has been
right.
the really strong fundamentalist Christians that are anti-gay, anti-trans, and then you have someone in the I have a big family. There's
Yeah.
3 people in it that are either gay or trans. That causes a tension. And the thing is, the person who's gay, I don't think they're causing the problem. They're just existing, right?
Yeah.
And they're not. Hey, I'm gay. Everyone needs to accept me. No, they're just going to family dinner like, oh shit, I hope no one brings up my sexuality. I just want us to all get along. But they got to worry about that uncle who's a fundamentalist and might say, hey, I just want you to know that you're making the wrong decision and you might not get into heaven.
Yeah.
That's
And I
what
think
ruins
that's,
the fucking dinner.
I think I think that's kind of a lot of people probably share a similar experience, whether the person who's outspoken is left wing or right wing or whatever,
Mhm.
is that it's kind of this like effect where the political they're the political minority, and they feel like they need to vocalize more, and maybe that's kind of the source of that problem.
Yeah, yeah, definitely part of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I mean, but overall, like, and just even on a personal level, if someone's starting, like, just don't give into it.
Yep.
If you feel the urge to talk politics, just shut the fuck up and
Hmm.
stare down at the food that's cooking. That's all you got.
Yep.
That's all you got to do. Um. So moving on from that to a less contentious topic, the Rittenhouse trial that's been
Hmm.
going on. I want to get some of your thoughts, your op onions.
Yeah. So I
Um,
actually think the Rittenhouse trial is somewhat emblematic of the
just to
greater tensions in
sorry,
America.
just to
Um,
preface this, this is probably going to be, we're probably going to, by the time this episode comes out, we're probably going to know, what his fate is. But
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So I just want to say real quick. I'm not one of those people who is big on hounding the individual details of this case. The reason being is because I think there's bigger issues associated with this case that people aren't really talking about because it's all about the drama. It's all about who's in the wrong here. For me personally, I think there were some good decisions and some bad decisions made on each side, and I don't think the sides are representative directly of the right wing or the left wing, but there are some lessons we can learn from this, and part of this is tension. How do we alleviate this tension? Because I believe it was a Black Lives Matter protest. They started one of the guys there started a dumpster fire, and if you look back on his record, he did have some. It seems like he had mental issues. So and a lot of the people at the protest were trying to put out the fire, right?
yeah,
And that's around the time that Rittenhouse came over to also put out the fire, but then people were like, well, wait, you have an AR-15, so now I'm scared. So in my opinion, I think there are things that both sides could have done better, and I'm not going to place judgment because I wasn't there. I don't know the exact details of the situation, but I think that it is a good lesson for us to learn is that most Americans do not want a civil war. We don't want it.
that's a that's a very broad analysis. That last part that you
No, but I'm saying it real. That's because people talk about individual details, blah blah blah. I care about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that this Rittenhouse incident shows that people on the left and on the right
I-
are ending up killing each other
you know
over things that they shouldn't.
a lot of people, it's not just this, right? It's a lot of these like political trials that become these moments of nationwide political tension, where you can smell the unrest and the dissatisfaction just brewing in the air, and everybody's all antsy, and everybody's all upset, and everybody wants to think that their person is a saint, their person who's on trial is a saint or whatever, and or the other involved parties are the devil or whatever. But I am an optimist, okay, in this, and I'm an optimistic centrist, and I believe that these moments where we have these national trials going on, very contentious things, these can be moments of unity. and I want to share this video with you real quick. If you'll join me in watching this video.
Yeah, if I have to.
You do.
Okay.
All right. So this is what I'm talking. This is what I'm talking about right here. Scootercaster tweets that Kyle #Rittenhouse supporters and BLM protesters sharing pizza together outside of the Kenosha courthouse. And this is right
nice.
out. I mean, this is they've been screaming at each other all day long. And just watch this.
Something else he's done for all of us. He's not only coming here to make a difference, he bought pizza to feed everyone. Please pay attention to this, guys. This is his food. Hey, come here, my man. My man, what's his name? Hey, come here.
These are people that have been screaming at each other all day.
Not only did he come
Yeah,
here to
no
bring
doubt.
peace, he brought food for people.
And I think possibly the Kyle supporters ordered some pizza
I'm looking
as
for
a
the
peace
cheese,
offering.
guys.
I think
if
so.
you get napkins, come on, get
that's
food.
what I thought it looked
Come
like
on.
as well.
Get energized and remain peaceful.
I'm trying to find the cheese.
Which is just further proof that pizza
I got you. Stretch your leg. I got you.
can mitigate basically any
What's she go with?
Well,
You want to do that?
yeah, you know me.
any violent demonstration, whether in the workplace or at a.
Thank you, baby. And don't worry about my coat. Thank you. Much love, man. I mean that. Oh, I mean that, man. Thank you for your spirit.
So
respect what you do.
for the power of
All right.
to the power of pepperoni pizza.
Respect, man.
I mean, these people realize that just because a kid, shot people, at a BLM protest or riot or whatever, just because they had these previous inclinations and ideas, it doesn't mean that we can't get along. Okay, just because a kid killed some people that you're sympathetic to doesn't mean that you can't sit and break bread with the people that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on his defense fund.
Yeah, I mean, the way you worded it actually doesn't really seems to go against your argument. But no, I would.
I don't know what you mean.
You said hundreds of thousands of dollars on their defense fund. I mean that makes it sound a little bit harder to break bread with someone like that. But I would generally I agree though that I mean the media likes to fix this should be no shock. The media likes to fixate on these divisive issues and drive a wedge between the left and the right. And it basically then you have, for the first time ever, people are starting to admit that the job of Fox News is not to report the truth. It's to cater to the right. And same thing with MSNBC. They're catering to the left. So they go into issues with a narrative already prepackaged and then drives this wedge between us. And they have us talking about the details of the Rittenhouse case. I'm going to be honest. I know that's the hot issue right now. I don't care that much. The reason being is I care more about the grand scheme
it's
of
not
things.
it's not a huge. It's honestly the easiest way to break it down there. Okay, the quote unquote hot take. All right, everybody who was there that night was a moronic LARPer.
Okay, there we go. Hey, I'll shake with you over that. I really will, because
everybody who was there that night was a moronic LARPer. Okay,
some of those guys on the left started trouble, and to be fair, other people on the left said, "You need to cut it out." Some of them were trying to have a fucking peaceful protest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there were people protesting peacefully, and other people used, the incident that had, preceded the protesting as an excuse, and literally, I mean, riot tourism is a thing, and we know for a fact.
Yeah, no doubt.
I literally have to roll my fucking eyes into the back of my skull when I hear the he crossed state lines argument against Kyle, because he lives 20 minutes away, and some of these people literally went across the country to protest in Kenosha.
Right.
These people that are mad.
Yeah, I think there's better arguments. Yeah. Well, the greatest argument is something that the defense managed to throw away, or the judge threw away, or whatever, and that's that He was a 17-year-old with an assault rifle. Now, the reason why that's important that they threw it away was because that's actually one of the strongest cases that the prosecution had on him. Now, just to give an example, one time I was pulled over when I was 19, hung out with a girl on
Hung
fucking
out.
what is it, New York, what's in New York, New Year's Eve, hung out with a girl, and I had 1 or 2 rum and cokes, and I drove her back to her house, and I was going way under the speed limit because it was dark and I couldn't see, and cop pulled me over and asked if I was drinking. I said, yeah,
Not at the moment.
honestly, I said, yeah, honestly, I was, because I felt like lying wouldn't have been in my best situation to do so. And he said, good thing you didn't lie, because I can smell it on your breath anyways. He said, now it doesn't matter if you blow over or not, because you're under the age of 21.
Yeah.
And you're drinking, so automatically you'll get a DUI just because you're not supposed to be drinking at that age. And the reason why I bring this up is it's the same, that same kind of standard actually applied to Rittenhouse, where automatically you're under the age that you can carry an AR-15. So that makes all the other charges against you worse.
The reason it got thrown out is because that wasn't how the statute actually read.
Oh, no shit.
What did the statute say? Well, it's fucking basically. And interestingly enough, the prosecution ended up arguing that the wording doesn't matter because of the intent of the law. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting into boring, schlocky political territory. Right. But I mean, I just very quickly for your benefit, the judge was basically like, well, the intent of the the intent of the lawmakers is irrelevant to how they actually worded the law.
Yeah, and that is definitely a gray zone, but
so technically, by the way the laws were, he wasn't in violation. He was not in violation of the statute.
And honestly, I had kind of a centrist take on it, anyways, where I thought, okay, if you're going to say he's a minor, and according to the law, how most people would interpret it, you shouldn't have an assault rifle, then you would also can't really try him as an adult either. You know what I mean? Like, you either have to have him adult in all cases, or you have to view him as a minor in all cases.
Yeah.
So me personally, I wouldn't even had gone that hard, just because I hate how we try some minors as adults and some minors as minors. I think that's fucked up. And I think we have to have really clear distinction that if you're not 18, you get tried as a kid, because your brain hasn't fully developed.
All right, let's get to the important facts surrounding this case. Was he fake crying?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I think he probably was.
Okay, so you're taking the side of LeBron James in this instance.
LeBron James, I don't know, dude. I'm not as trendy as you are. I think that we need to look at the big picture and say kids should not walk around with assault rifles. And really, this is going to come as a shocker, but I see Rittenhouse as a victim here, because he is a victim of toxic masculinity, and he's a victim of gun culture. And I don't have anything against guns, but I have something against fostering a culture where his mom and his stepfather, he's a fucking teenager, and they're showing him how to use all these guns, and they're kind of egging him on. Oh, I got the guns out of the safe. You got to go protect that car dealership. This isn't fucking airsoft. These are assault rifles that can kill people.
This country was much better off when everybody was walking around with cigarettes. Now you have all these fucking people walking around constantly armed. And it's just not safe. You know, it's not safe like it used to be.
Well, look, I know you're trying to be ironic, but at least
I'm not being ironic.
Cigarettes,
it's 100% true.
Because I can't tell with you if you're being ironic or not. Because with cigarettes, you're putting the risk on yourself. With guns, you're putting the risk on other people. And that being said, I don't have anything against someone defending themselves.
So you're saying there's not an overlap between secondhand smoke and secondhand bullets?
Secondhand bullets. I don't know, bro. I'm trying to have a serious discussion, and I feel like you're off in La La Land.
I'm not in La La Land, man. But you
are. Micah, let's talk about the serious issues for a minute, because there are people on the right and the center, like Tim Pool, who are trying to
Simple.
egg.
Isn't he that alt-righter?
Yeah, who are egging. Basically, they're egging on a civil war, and that's bullshit. And we all know that that's the worst thing that can happen.
Hold on. I've literally not been like watching anything regarding this except for like live streams of the actual case. So what do you mean they're edging?
Yeah, so obviously
Penis? What do you mean they're edging on a civil war?
I'm not accusing you of doing this, but I mean, watch any video by Tim Pool and a lot of other people on the alt-right. We saw someone do this at a recent Charlie Kirk speech where someone raised their hand and asked, when is it acceptable for us to start killing people on the left? And I mean, I'm just...
Wait, in response to what? Hold on, what predicates that question? I want to understand.
Bro, this was a very normal Q&A. Was supposed to be. It was just
no. Did he answer the question?
Q&A. Yeah, he did, and I thought his answer was actually pretty good. Obviously,
well, how do you not give a good answer? How do you not give a good answer to that question?
I know,
we don't.
Right? Yeah. Well, his answer was basically,
but no matter what he says, right? I mean, the reality of the situation is, it's not. You're making it seem as though this is just like. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah,
I mean, this isn't this. Go fuck yourself.
No, dude.
This is not just some anomaly like happening on the right. I mean, these people. I mean, the people who are against Kyle, they want to see him. You know, they if they could, they'd like to see him dead. They wish that, you know, the people that had approached him that night had fucking killed him. Yeah, you know, that is the reality. And true. They think the same thing about, you know, in lots of cases, even in regards to people who aren't necessarily against their politics, but just did something that they don't like. I mean, they get to the point of saying shit like that. So I don't think it's a unique thing to conservacucks or anything. I think
it's definitely not. But most people on the left know that they're outgunned. And they don't want a civil war because they don't really want so the people, in my experience, people on the left are mostly aimed at structures of power. That's what they're mad at.
Well, the thing with them is they probably think a lot of them probably think that, you know, the government is sympathetic enough to them that they don't necessarily need to.
Maybe the fucking idiots are, but because well,
there's a lot of those. So
there are, yeah. Maybe some of the liberals are, but
there's an astounding majority.
I mean,
I would argue
governments are almost always going to defend the capitalist class and go after revolutionaries. That's just how it is. That's part of maintaining.
Well, I know you're a lot farther along than the average leftist in the United States who can more or less be described as a social democrat.
Yeah, and to clarify, all I'm saying is, regardless of this side or that side, I'm saying majority of people do not want a civil war, and I'm trying to look at this case. Okay, well, I'm trying to look at the bigger details of this case, the bigger implications, and that is that we need to set a precedent where it's okay to give me 1 second. It's okay to defend yourself. It's not okay to just go to a protest with an assault rifle and start shooting people. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but there are going to be some conservatives who, like the crazy person that asked Charlie Kirk that question, that are going to say, okay, now I know that if I get into a skirmish with Black Lives Matter people, I may actually be able to unload on them and get away with it. Some people are going to have that opinion because most people aren't as rational as you and I.
Hold on, but are people really making that rationalization on the right when their whole argument is this was clearly self-defense? And are you saying that you view, and maybe I just outed myself or something, but in my opinion, my standard for self-defense is incredibly, like, the bar is pretty low as far as justification goes. Like, in my opinion, if somebody fucking like runs up to you in the street in the street and starts wailing on you, I think you ought, like, have the right to kill that person. That's just my take. I have very low tolerance for people, you know, trying to fucking, you know, beat the shit out of you unjustifiably so. And then you having to, like, like in where I live and in a lot of states, there are these rules that basically say you can only use the same amount of force to defend yourself as is used against you, and I think that's total bullshit. Because like in the seconds that you're getting fucking attacked, how are you supposed to assess and determine what may or may not be happening to you?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
whether
So,
you know
Micah, I hear you, but just remember what I said was that we need to make sure with every big case sets a precedent going forward. And
right,
all
but
I'm
how
saying
is
is
the
that
precedent being set by this
no,
that you
I
can
didn't
walk into a
fucking
crowd
no,
and shoot at
I didn't fucking
BLM
say that. I said
protesters?
we need
Oh,
to make sure we're not doing that. We need to make sure we're saying
right.
that there is kind of a gray area of self-defense. We need to make sure the parameters are a little bit clearer that yes, you are allowed to protect yourself. If someone's stabbing you with a knife, you can use a gun, shit like that. We need to set the exact rules, but then we also need to say that that doesn't mean that you can see someone setting a dumpster on fire and then decide to kill them, and that
That's
you're I'm
not, but
just saying we can't.
that's not what happened. See, that's a misrepresentation of the situation. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at here. Like, look, I'm not crazy, okay? Like,
Sure.
I'm not a crazy person, and I wouldn't say like if that kid had a fucking like walked into a crowd of people and just started waving his gun around until somebody charged him and then shot them, I would not say that that was justified. But I mean the things that have been discussed around this case. I mean,
Yo,
it's to the degree where I literally see people on the left starting to go, "Oh shit, I didn't know that." "Oh shit, I
yeah,
didn't
you're
know that."
fine. I'm just kind of a little bit curious as how this is a centrist channel, and yet every single thing you do seems to be, oh, the left is fucking up here, the left's fucking up here, the left's
It's
fucking up
not.
here.
That's not true.
Meanwhile, a Trump supporter goes into a protest with an AR-15 and starts shooting people, and it's, well, I think that's fine. You know what I mean? Like
I
I think
did.
I'm actually more. I'm
I
being
think
more of a
you're.
centrist than you are. You know what I'm saying?
I literally just said if that's what he had, if he, well, not even that, not if he just walks into a crowd and starts like opening fire, but if he had gone there and literally like provoked someone and didn't make any effort to get away
That's what.
from people
Well,
who were attacking him.
dude, that's what the some of the. No, I agree with you on the last part. It does seem like he ran away, but eyewitness accounts have said that he was before the incident. He was walking around provoking people.
No,
That's what eyewitness accounts said.
there was one guy who claimed that on camera. I've watched the whole trial, bro. You're not going to get me on this. I've watched all the
Dude,
witnesses that they
I'm not
called.
trying to get you on anything. I'm literally
Anyone,
just saying I don't want there to be a civil war, and you're saying I want a
I do
civil
want there to
war.
be.
You're saying I want a civil war. I think people can go into crowds with guns,
Well,
and I hate the left.
yeah, you're
And you
right.
call
No,
yourself a centrist
it's not
channel.
fair. Yeah, it's not
It's just
fair.
I'm not saying it's unfair. I'm just saying it's kind of cringe.
No, it is. You're totally right. It is cringe, and I don't want to be. I don't want to be like the left. I don't want to be cringe.
Okay,
I don't want to be.
good,
I don't want
because
to be like Trump supporters. I don't want to be like the left. So I'll back down from this. I'm just look. I get a little heat when I watch 30 hours of litigating, and then I have to I have to
well,
talk
have you?
about this in depth.
Well, you're talking about it to someone who touches a lot of grass and ass. So I might not know about all the details
Look,
like
this is the
you do.
sacrifice. Yeah, and that's the
But and yeah,
sacrifice. That's the sacrifice that I make.
and I
As someone
appreciate
who's terminally online.
I appreciate that. But okay, I just look. I really don't give a shit about this as much as you do. All I'm saying
No,
is,
it's not that I care about it. It's again, it's like going back to Trump or even when Obama was president. I had the same complex where I see people attacking and attacking and attacking and making claims and making claims and making claims. And
yeah,
if I know if I have any semblance of understanding of what they are critiquing or criticizing or attacking, and I know that it's an inaccurate representation, my brain like I start having a conniption, and that may be cringe or
yeah.
whatever,
You
but it's
have
just what
like an
happens.
autistic
Yeah,
neoliberal moment where
literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I gotcha.
it's not I don't think that's a reflection of me not being centrist. That's just like I get triggered. I get literally triggered by
No,
people
it's just that just by some weird coincidence, all your views seem to defend the right and attack the
no.
left, but
Okay,
that's just
I'm
because
sure.
reality is biased towards the left being
Look,
cringe. I gotcha.
no, and sometimes sometimes the right does do things that are cringe. Like I've
Like
like
send
this.
a fucking 17-year-old, give him an assault rifle, and tell him to go protect a fucking
Well, you
car
already
lot.
hold on, sir. You already agreed that everybody there was a moronic LARPer.
I still stand by that.
And okay,
I
so
still stand
am
by
I not?
that.
Is that not me criticizing all those fucking faggots walking around in like military shirts and fucking ammo vests and carrying around guns? Is that not me being critical of them?
It is, but you also use a lot of language that seemed like you were saying that
Look, dude,
he
like
was
literally,
justified.
if because if a left winger had gotten in at that protest had gotten into a similar situation, I'd be sitting here defending them. It's not my fault.
No, I got you.
It's
I
not my
got
fault
you.
that the militia didn't provoke or attack any of these guys to the point where they had to defend themselves.
Let me just ask you a question real quick. I got you. I hear you. I hear you though. But okay, let's just say there was a rally
Mhm.
being held for Trump, and a
Sure.
black guy with an AR-15 went over there with a gun and started fucking shooting people. What the fuck?
Just okay, but
You
you're
know what I'm
the way
saying?
the way you're saying just started shooting people.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fucking
You're
the
being such
Rittenhouse
an
guy.
asshole.
Dude, I'm just giving you a step by step.
No,
real
you're
quick,
right. You're
'cause
no, you're right.
to try to
No,
save
yeah, no.
time.
People don't. Yeah, I know. People's attention spans are short. They can't get into the nitty gritty details of what led up to every single event. So it is a lot easier to
Dude,
summarize.
let's just say it's cringe. Let's just say it was fucking cringe and move on. Because here's
Okay,
the thing.
it is cringe.
I just want to do
It is
one
cringe.
quick 10-second thing.
What he did is cringe. I agree.
Yeah, what he did is cringe. Just for 10 seconds, real quick. My point is 17-year-old should have not had an assault rifle under the law. I don't give a fuck how that conservative judge is interpreting it. That's the fucking law. But then to be ideologically consistent, I would say we have to try him as a minor as well. And then I think there still sets a clear precedents that, however you say it, that defense.
Precedent.
Thank you. Defense is fine and good and whatever, but it is becoming kind of a gray area now, as evidenced by the George Zimmerman trial and by this trial, that we're still having problems with motherfuckers thinking that just because they have a gun and felt threatened, they can start unloading on people, and that's not okay.
I would agree. I would honestly agree that that there is a psychology there. Um, and so it's something you do have to consider because like the Zimmerman shit was a little bit less like it's like, dude, that literally was it seemed more like a case of provocation, even if like the kid that he killed was a bad actor or whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a little more. But I mean, with the Rittenhouse shit, I mean, it was fucking absolutely a shit show everywhere and with everybody. So it's a little bit
Let's
harder.
just say we agree and move on, because I think it was a shit show too, and I don't think the individual details matter as much. So I want to just say real quick at the beginning so we can get over it. I just think it is kind of a little mini allegory for what's going on the bigger picture, where the left and the right are, and you should know this as a centrist. They want to fucking kill each other.
Absolutely want to kill.
And we need to figure out a way where we can solve our differences.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the times maybe it's because it was night, maybe it's because it's stuff on fire, but you do see this a lot of the times where they'll get together, and they'll be armed, and they're just kind of like, is it going to happen? Is something going to happen?
Exactly.
I do get that. I do.
So
understand.
my advice to the left would be to keep fucking protesting. Don't stop protesting, because protesting has been shown to work. Protest, sabotage, all that shit has been shown to work. Now I wouldn't say lighting a dumpster.
Espionage.
And I mean sabotage in the original anarchist sense of like you actually plan out what you're doing and why you're doing it, blah blah blah. But all I'm saying is but if you're gonna do a general protest like a Black Lives Matter type thing, make it as fucking peaceful as possible. And a lot of people have been trying to do that, and there are some bad actors. There are even agent provocateurs. But make it as fucking peaceful as possible. Don't give them any goddamn reason to discredit your movement, any reason whatsoever. And for people on the right, dude, you gotta stop fucking LARPing with your airsoft guns. You gotta just knock it the fuck out, bro. 'Cause, like,
Don't wear the military garb. Just don't do it. It doesn't look cool.
It's cringe, and it's not putting the country in a good direction. And you're never going to get laid doing that either.
You might get laid, but it's not going to be that. It's not
going
to
to
be
be
quality pussy.
No, fuck.
Okay.
No.
Let's move on from this. This has been it's a good thing to talk about. Everybody needs to don't talk about it at Grill-Giving. But it's a good thing to talk about. Don't do it. But
Dude,
it's a good thing to talk about.
You and I agreed on like 95% of it. The 5% was just really heated, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So okay, so just
I agree on the social aspects more than the legal ones. I guess I'll put it that way.
And the legal stuff I don't know that much about anyway, so fuck it, who cares? Go back to what we just said and delete everything except for the 10 seconds where we're like, was cringe. It was cringe.
Yeah, I'll just delete. I mean, I probably will trim a little bit of that. So I want to ask you, because this happened recently, in Congress, Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona, I'm sure you've heard about this, was recently censured. And, I remember back in the good old days when we used to just censor people, but now they're censuring people.
Yeah, very scary.
I mean, what is this? Is this a new advanced form of censoring? And what do you think this means? It was a pretty partisan vote, by the way. It was like 220 to 203 or something like that. It was like strictly party lines. And then the Republicans were like, well, when we get in power, we're going to censure you. Yeah.
I mean, they've always had, each side has always had the power to censure each other. Censoring with the O, that's a bigger deal where you start getting into legal territory.
Have you actually seen the video that he got censured for?
I haven't, no.
Okay, I want you to take a look at this and tell me if you think this justifies his censuring. Let me pull this up. Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Well, okay, if he's criticizing AOC and Joe Biden for was that the horse immigrant scandal thing? Is that what he was showing there?
No, I think he was just showing. I mean, the main takeaway for me here is that congressional Democrats obviously just haven't embraced the anime-sexual movement, because it's clear to me, it's evidenced by this video, that Paul Gosar, Republican Representative Paul Gosar, he's come out as an anime-sexual, and basically the entirety of the Democratic Party has come out against him, and they're just like, no, we're not going to be inclusive to this made up sexuality. So they're being enormous hypocrites
to it. They should not be inclusive to it.
Oh, really?
Guys that are everyone's entitled to their own fetishes, but kink shaming is 100% a kink of mine, and I don't want you to kink shame.
Okay, so you think you're the guy who gets to determine what's a sexuality and what's a kink? Who made you the fucking king of kinks?
Well, you're just a figment of my imagination here to entertain me. So I'm sorry to have to break it to you that way, but
it's very
it is. I didn't want to ruin Thanksgiving, but it is what it is. But so, anyways, let me just explain it to you this way. So, guys are entitled to like fucking whatever they like. But if you can only get off while slapping someone, I'm going to kink shame you because that's fucked up and that's misogynistic. Now, if you can only get off by watching anime girls that look like they're 16, 14, 15, 13, or anal vor or any of that stuff. There. Exactly.
We're just talking about a guy who, is only attracted to anime characters. You didn't need to.
Well, you don't know. You're not understanding why the culture is problematic, Micah. And I didn't want to have to.
I mean, I've heard this argument before.
I didn't want to have to break it to you this way.
We had a whole episode dedicated.
We did, but you weren't. It seemed like you weren't understanding it. So I thought we should go over.
I heard both sides. I heard both sides of the debate. As I always do.
Okay, put the ebophilia aside for a minute and think about these people aren't real. They're cartoon characters. And you shouldn't be sexually attracted to a drawing because that's fucking weird. Like, let's say,
is that a sin, Andy? Is that wrong? Is it morally objectionable?
Right now, what I'm doing, you can't see it because I don't have my webcam on, but I'm actually drawing a stick man and I'm giving him 5 limbs. You know why?
No.
I'm making his penis really big.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm looking at it. Am I getting turned on by it?
Probably.
Maybe a little bit, but not really that much. Now, if I was to get turned on by that, that would be fucking weird. So that's all I want you to think about. Because I'm not trying to kink shame you.
That was extremely.
I'm not trying to kink shame you, but someone's got to do it.
I mean, you don't need to kink shame me. I'm not the anime. I'm not the anime sexual in the equation.
Well,
okay? We're talking about a U.S. congressman.
Sure,
Okay?
sure we
a
are.
United States
Sure.
congressman.
Micah,
Who just because they self-imposed images of themselves on an Attack on Titan intro. Okay, because that's what they identify with. They're being dogpiled on by the political party that touts themselves as being the party of inclusion and tolerance. Well, they're not tolerating.
That's cute that you made up this whole confusing construct, but Micah, I want to tell you the first step to getting better is admitting you have a problem.
And look, I wouldn't have if the Republicans had voted to censure him, I wouldn't even be having this discussion with you. I'd believe that it was the right decision.
Wait, the Republicans voted to censure him?
No, they didn't. I'm saying if they did,
okay.
I would realize that was the correct thing to do because it would be both parties. But because it's just the Democrats who are doing it,
yeah, it's kind of.
I have a problem. I have a problem with it.
And but okay. Look, I fucking hate the Democrats. I hate dogging on you this whole show. But dude, why is it that every single thing you do as a centrist is rag on the left or the liberal left? Every single fucking episode gets fucking old after a while.
Hold on, it's not every episode.
Okay, well, let me think about the most recent
because
one.
you haven't watched all our episodes.
That's true. I haven't watched every single one. That's true.
You can't.
No, you're right.
I'm sorry if you're watching all the episodes where, we're ragging on left wingers.
No, I gotcha.
That's not
okay.
I mean,
no, I hear you, brother. I hear you. My bad.
Yeah, dude. I don't know.
No, I'm just don't worry about it. I'm just giving you shit, bro. It's all good.
We were making. What were we talking about? We made fun of in the Nikki Grillage episode. We made fun of some right wingers.
Good. As long as I'm just testing you. As long as you're being ideologically
fair
consistent
and this show is fair and balanced. I hope you understand.
Good. That's
it just so happens that it's we seem to elicit more of a reaction talking about and again it's also just dependent on who's doing the cringiest shit this week.
That's true.
I can't force the right to do something hilarious to make fun of.
That's totally the right. Honestly, I think what it is the right is kind of boring.
The right is extremely boring.
They LARP with fucking assault rifles and say "Let's go, Brandon." That's like 95%.
Yeah, like what do you want? Yeah, like literally. I mean, that's what did I say at the beginning of the show? That's like all I had to go with is like "Let's go, Brandon sucks."
Yeah, that was the one joke you're allowed to make about him because there ain't much material. No, I hear you.
And that is an interesting. This is an interesting topic though. The "Let's Go Brandon" thing and how just it's such it's so exemplary of boomers' inability to let anything die.
Oh my god, dude! So here it is.
Because it was to me, it was genuinely funny in like the day or two or whatever preceding that reporter. Pretending that's what people were saying. But then when it goes on for weeks and then there's merchandise and it's just like, this is unbearable.
I know. That's what my friend Tate said. She said, how did they make merchandise so quickly? It wasn't that quickly.
It's going to go until like 2024. It's going to go past 2024.
It's going to be...
This guy's dead. This guy's going to be dead.
They're going to be trying to elect Brandon president in 2024. Yeah. Well, so here, you want to know the most boomer thing in the world? So I'm a blackjack dealer. I had this coworker that he was actually secretly a millionaire. I didn't realize it until a year in or so. Once he ended up buying a hotel by the casino I was working at, and then that's when it hit me. Oh, you're just here to... I found out he told me he just deals blackjack to get away from his wife for a few hours every day. He doesn't even need the money, And anyways, him and I would have political discussions because he liked being able to talk to a left winger that wasn't going to just get triggered the whole time. Then after COVID happened, he left and shit. I left for a while. 2 years later, I'm dealing blackjack. He comes in and he looks completely different, and he's talking to my pit boss. He's like, "Oh shit, is that Andy?"
Hmm.
And I look at him. He's like, "Do you recognize me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's just like, "Let's go, Brandon," and walks away. And that's, that's just how it is, dude. That's the only thing they like doing is triggering.
Literally, I mean, look, and again, I really hope that you aren't genuinely like, put off by the direction of the show, because if you want to talk about anything that you find noteworthy, where we can make fun of the right, like anytime you come on, that's allowed, and I will.
No, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna show this episode to someone and they'd be like, once again, you didn't stick up for the left hard enough. You know what I mean? I've had that
Well,
criticism.
that's your problem. That's your. I mean,
I
look,
know,
that's
I
you need
know.
to talk to them and say, look, if this is how you're taking in this, if this is you're receiving the content, this it's you're taking it the wrong way.
No, I agree, but I've legitimately have friends be like, I think these guys are a little bit too biased towards the right. That's why I was hassling you. That's it.
No,
It's
and
all
that's
good.
fine. I mean,
I'm just giving you shit.
to be fair. I mean, to be fair, maybe. I mean, I don't know what you consider bias to be. But like, am I going out like and giving money to right wing politicians, and am I going and voting for people and all this? Like, no, yeah, 100% no.
Yeah, you can, bro. I'm just giving you a hard time, man. It's all good.
Oh well, I appreciate that, because there has to be checks and balances. That's why we have
exactly.
People. That's why we have.
I've seen guests, dude. That's my fucking job, because I've seen left wing guests go onto your show, and I hate using the T word, but they got triggered and left your show.
Oh, well, we had a the perfect example of that. The inverse of that would be when our band episode, the one about the Capitol riots or insurrection,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And we were giving this guy who was right wing, we were giving him a hard time. We were making jokes obviously at their expense, and they just let it roll on, right off, and it was all cool, very chill, and it's always, I mean, usually it honestly isn't that common where we have someone who's left wing and freaks out at us. That's like maybe
true. Yeah,
it's been like one guy, because we've had plenty of people who are more left come on and be cool.
So right on.
So yeah, it's so anyways, you might be interested in this as a final point to touch on. We'll end segue.
Mm-hmm.
And I just read about this actually, but apparently the Biden administration is considering boycotting the Beijing Olympics, the scheduled Beijing Olympics, which they're like only speculating right now why that is.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand, it could be that the Biden administration has adopted the QAnon conspiracy theory. That China had some sort of culpability in the coronavirus pandemic.
So I honestly don't think it's fair to say that's just QAnon that started that, because I've definitely heard other people bring up that theory, including Jon Stewart.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to say I didn't believe in that conspiracy theory
No,
until
you're good.
Jon Stewart said it.
I personally always believed in that quote conspiracy. The reason being is,
well, I personally only believe anything that Jon Stewart says.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Well, he's right about a lot of stuff. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's shown that he holds to his fucking guts more than Stephen Colbert does, and I got to give him massive props for that, because Stephen Colbert sold out hard, man. He sold out hard.
I agree with you there. I've always liked Jon Stewart. Unironically,
but Jon Stewart, I'm really surprised he said that, because people on the left and the liberals, they have such a hard time admitting that it's possible that a virus came from a lab that studies that virus. I don't know why they have a hard fucking time admitting that.
Because it was a suggested theory when Trump was in office.
Right, exactly. And the left is, I really do hate them just as much as the right in many ways. But because it pisses me off that they had managed to polarize this issue. Right wing polarized it too, right? But they picked Dr. Fauci as their Lord and Savior and the antithesis to Trump. And why did we need like an anti-Trump? Like they just really liked an old man that seemed like, he's worked in universities and labs his whole life to be like, hey, put on your mask. Rand Paul, you don't know what you're talking about. Put on your mask. Dude, shut the fuck up, bro. I'll put it on when I feel like it. And I'm not an anti-vax guy or anything like that, but it's very obvious that it's at least a possibility that they were doing gain of function research, even though Dr. Fauci doesn't define it that way. Technically, if you're trying to take an animal virus and see if you can pass it on to humans, when that's not a normal function of that virus, that's gain of function. It's gaining a function, meaning transferability to humans. That's what they were doing in that lab, according to Dr. Fauci's own
And
research.
if you need help getting down to your local Department of Motor Vehicles, I can help you get registered as a Republican.
I'm actually registered Green Party.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean I vote for them every election, but every once in a while I like throwing my vote away.
So
no, I'm not. But dude, this is just sorry, but this is the exact fucking problem. I know you're making a joke. This is the exact problem I'm talking about. This shouldn't be a political issue.
No, I agree. I actually agree. I do. Agree
I know you're just joking, but just to
joking.
clarify. That
why do I need to say this? Why do I need to say this, Andy? Why do I need to clarify for people? Okay, listen, this is the Grillcast, all right? And the Grillcast is a special. This is what I should have said to you from the get-go. The reason that the Grillcast is special is because you have to have a big enough fucking brain to listen to it and get enjoyment out of the content without having a fucking conniption. Okay, because you don't understand what's going on. That's what I should have said from the get-go. And that's what you should say to anybody. That's what you should say to anybody who feels that there's some sort of targeted agenda. Okay? Just tell them to shut the fuck up.
All right, fair enough. But okay, so sorry, my bad. I forgot what we were talking about.
Obviously,
I'm just saying the virus came from the bat lab. No, you're good. You good, bro?
Yeah.
I got triggered. I'll admit it. I got triggered, but I'm more triggered. I'm actually not really triggered at you. I'm triggered about the news coming out that.
But I agree with you.
About the fucking dog shit that was. Do you know about the dog shit that was going on in the desert? That's the shit I get triggered about. I didn't mean to take it out on you, but
that also crazy.
People are getting bit. It is, and people are getting bit by bats, and then like, oh shit, that's crazy. We infected this bat with COVID. And now it bit me, and now I'm gonna go over to the desert and kill some dogs by, it's just I hate fucking Fauci. This is why everyone needs to listen to my band Tides of Technocracy, because
so true.
We talk about the fucking issue, and the issue is corporations and government having too much power, and they're being unelected bureaucrats, and they're doing weird shit with viruses they shouldn't be doing, and eventually they're gonna be doing weird shit with robots too.
It's so crazy because this is the broader. I think this is the broader takeaway because you obviously brought up the whole like the Rand Paul Inquisition thing, but is it just like we're getting to the point where you can literally, if somebody from an opposing ideological side criticizes something, that thing is automatically like your golden calf, and
exactly.
That's insane.
It is. That's why I got so triggered at you, even though you were just making a joke, because it's not really me being triggered at you.
That's the point of the joke.
That really is what the fucking liberal establishment thinks is like, this dude,
conservatives too. If you frame something in a way, if you frame something that is a left-wing idea to conservatives in a way that they can't make that connection, they may be more receptive to it. They likely would.
People have straight up told the most hardcore conservatives, I think American workers should have control over the means of production. And then the conservatives have been like, oh yeah, exactly. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the
level of
that's why I hate when people on the left start having Stalin as their, not like it matters anyways, it's just online shit. But whenever they start talking about Stalin and shit, it's like, dude, let that shit go. That shit fucking sucked, and it sucks now. And the left had a strong fucking current in America, from the IWW, the anarcho-syndicalists in Chicago and all that shit. Very strong current of socialist and communist parties too. Yeah. And then after the Bolshevik Revolution, it died out, and we still haven't been able to get back this anarcho-socialist ethos, because people don't, the right keeps on associating socialism with Stalinism. That's why Bernie Sanders had to clarify, I'm a democratic socialist. And all the
people that represent you on a public level are extremely not optical.
Yeah, no, I agree, they're not. And a lot of that is, people think that the goal of the Democratic Party is to win and push things left. The goal of the Democratic Party is to lose. They want to lose every fucking election. You know why? They get more money from lobbyists if they lose sometimes than if they win. Now, here's the thing. Why was it that so many liberals would have rather lost with Pete Buttigieg or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? They would have rather lost with those candidates than won with Bernie Sanders. Reason being, they knew that their lobbyists didn't support Bernie Sanders because he was the most likely guy to tax them and to put a price ceiling on pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. It's a very slim. It's a very slim. There's a very slim number of people on either side that are able to breach those kind of sacred cows of, like, these are the things that you cannot go after as a legislator. And some of them try to do it anyways, and obviously, for the reasons you stated, it's not going to happen. But let me just back on the topic that we were going off the rails from, just to kind of, and I kind of want to close out by asking you this question. Don't you think that President Biden's, and this is just another one of those things, man. I was a Biden boy, and now I'm pretty much back on the Yang Gang and his new party, and I'm getting ready to throw my full weight behind that. But it's just another reason here. Don't you think that what Biden's doing, considering pulling out of the next Olympic Games in China, is a bit xenophobic? Get it?
I'm trying so hard to get it.
Because the president's name is Z.
Oh my God. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't. Even starts with an X too, just like xenophobic.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
I'm old as a boomer. My mindset on Zoomer. Everything cooler, long as I'm not Laura Loomer. If you think I'm not number one, I done spelled that rumor. Hit that victory royale on some motherfucking coochie. Default dance on a bitch. Hit the default dance on a bitch. Floss dance while I'm flossing in a whip. Victory royale when that chopper hit. Self-incrimination, I have no participation. News keep asking, I don't say shit. You can't have my conversation.